A lot of our bounce-ins are like some of the most fun parts.
Me almost falling over every time.
Listen for my how. Hi,
my name is Nicole.
And I'm Misha.
And we're Ritual Kamoon.
So today we're talking about different hormones and different neural pathways that affect different aspects of our lives. And specifically, the two main ones are dopamine and serotonin. I wanted to bring a little bit of spirituality into this topic in terms of, I know it's a very scientific heavy based topic, but one of the main things that I get asked all the time is, hey, I have so many bad vibes around me, so much bad juju, like how do I clear? And so we have a couple of practices for clearing, but it typically falls into two different categories. Sometimes you really do have a lot of negative things that are happening around you and you do want to clear that energy. But sometimes it's happening internally and you don't even realize what's happening to you in your actual body. There's a lot of hormones that can create different feelings inside, and you will feel like things in your world are completely out of control, and then you'll want to resort to clearing or doing something like that.
So I think the three that I want to cover will be dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine. And to me, these are three that are really important. And I know you might have heard it in your psychology class or your bio class or something like that before. But I want us to be able to relate to these things in a more day-to-day level. Serotonin, for example, a lot of people are like, this is the happy hormone. Like, this is the neurotransmitter that's making me like excited and happy and all these things. Yes, it is. But also serotonin will usually work at a cognitive level. So if you're having really bad self-talk, if you're feeling angry or irritable, or your mood seems to be like fluctuating a lot and it doesn't really feel right, or your sleep patterns, that's serotonin. So anytime that it's more of like a thinking thing, like you're in your head and you're not living your best life, right? It's probably because there's some kind of serotonin imbalance. With dopamine, dopamine is the one that you can, if you know about Parkinson's, that disease where people kind of lose control of their muscles or shaky a lot, it's because they have too much dopamine. And what dopamine does is kind of the same thing. It's something that it's like the reward hormone that people usually relate to. And dopamine, yes, it has to do with memory and things like that, but dopamine actually is more of a movement-based hormone. So movement affects it, or if you're feeling really lethargic, it's probably a dopamine imbalance. Another thing that's really interesting to understand about dopamine is that the highest levels of dopamine that get released is when you're anticipating something, and not so much when you're doing that thing that is rewarding to you. And then norepinephrine, I just want to touch upon really quickly because it kind of does both. It is something that you will notice bodily, that you're not feeling really motivated, that you're feeling kind of lethargic. That's going to be more norepinephrine. And it's not that understanding like, oh, my serotonin is low today is that big of a deal. Is that you can start to understand when you start going through these funks of like, what's going on, like what's my cycle. And I know for me especially, like when I'm isolated, but I'm isolated for like a negative reason, that I'm not feeling so great, I'm sitting a lot, like I don't want to move, right? So to me, that starts a trigger point. You're not moving, and so your dopamine gets lower, and then that negative self-talk of like, I should be doing all these things start, which is going to affect your serotonin. And this is kind of how depression starts to form if it's something that you're not able to get out of, or you're predisposed genetically to have these imbalances already in your body. So it's really important to kind of understand what's going on, so that when you are feeling that way, you kind of give yourself a little bit of grace, and you can say, it's not, yes, my body's doing this, but it's not because I'm like a horrible person. It's just that chemically something is off. And then thinking about, what is it that I can do that could help me get a little bit of balance. And it can be really small things, like maybe you go on a walk if you feel like you're really not moving. Maybe you clean your house. You're like, at least I'll clean, my room. and you get some movement, and that's going to help to start balancing things off. But I think understanding where all of that is coming from is really important.
Yeah, so that's it for today's video. We wanted to kind of have this as a foundational video so that we can link it to other ones when we talk about things like serotonin, dopamine, and
Norepinephrine.
Norepinephrine. Norepinephrine?
Norepinephrine. It's like the sister hormone to adrenaline.
So if you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If not, just move right to another page. We don't need that. And please comment in the comment box below if there's something that you want us to talk about, something that you know, something that you can relate to. We're all ears. Thank you again, and have a good one.
Bye. If you like what you hear and you want to keep the conversation going, listen to our podcast, Ritual Común Contigo.
Also check out our Instagram where we have affirmations, oracle cards, and give a special message just for you.
Make sure to check out our website,
ritualcomún.com.
Inhala,
Exhala. Inhala. Exhala.